I meant this to be a post Planes of Power guide. Um, it ended up being more a guide on my thoughts on what you should be doing during your entire career here on Everquest. And I'm specifically focusing on the shaman class here, but really that doesn't matter too much in this particular video. What I'm answering is some comments I got from someone in on one of my videos, some questions he had, and I said, hey, yeah, I'm definitely willing to do a video. I'll try and answer some of these questions. The fact is, to answer these questions completely would take a tremendous amount of time, and even then I would probably miss stuff. Partly because my focus now in EverQuest is on the 85 plus game, and even more specifically the high end game. I'm playing current content, I'm rating current content, I'm doing the beta. I don't play on the TLP servers except when I go there to hang with friends. And I get encouraged to move over there and start raiding with them. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to do this once in a while for fun. The Vox server, I hear really good things about it from people. Some people say it's got plenty of people looking, for the lower end and going up, and then other people say it's a little light, but it's a good server. Like I said, people who played there that I know, they've enjoyed it. I like Bristlebane right now. It's a highly populated server. You want to start grouping as soon as you can and as often as you can. And to do that, go ahead and ask, like whenever you log on, say in general, hey, I'm a level 53 shaman, and I would like to get in a group if anybody's doing anything. And then just start doing your thing. If you don't get a group, that's fine. The channels you want to always be in the general channel. Of course, you're automatically joined to the general channel. And the other channel that's worth having would be your shaman channel. Sometimes you can ask shaman specific questions in that. You want to get to know people. It's a social game. This is a grouping game. I play a tank and a cleric along with many other classes. But if you play a tank, you can form groups, and I form groups. I am grouped up usually within minutes of logging on, and people send me tells. So, when do you want to start grouping? You want to group as often as possible, especially as a shaman. As a shaman, your specialty is going to be melee groups, and while you can solo, it's not as much fun, in my opinion, to solo all the time as a shaman. There are many classes that can solo better than a shaman. A shaman can always solo. I was soloing in beta, but it's not as efficient or effective as being in a group where you add so much. So what I'm specifically answering here is the blue highlighted text. This is why this is part 1 of the video. So the first thing I do is, this is my idea of kind of a progression to follow as you go through from level 10 to 115. Obviously, you can do 1 to 15 in Crescent Reach, but a lot of people will do Glooming Deep that has a lot of little quick quests. It'll get your Cobalt Skull charm, which is probably the only charm you'll have for the first 70 or so levels. And I give a variety of zones. I don't group at the low end yet, so my knowledge may be dated or off a little bit. And one thing I suggest is, as you level, start exploring, get invised and go to all the zones and see them. One, just to see them, so you get a familiarity with EverQuest's. They have hundreds of zones. Plus, you're going to fill in your Explorer achievements, which eventually give you journeyman AAs, that means you move faster. And eventually you're going to need to have all the Explorer achievements done in order to level certain cool gear that you can get. And it literally takes you days to go to all the zones in EverQuest, just zoning to one, run to the next, zone, zone, zone. Not hours, days to go through all this stuff. It is just ridiculous. So if you start going to all the zones now as you level up, it'll help you in the long run. So I have a list of kind of a path that you might take or you can consider taking up to level 80. At level 75, you can start doing heroic adventure groups. Basically, say you're 75, so when you log on, hey, 75 shaman looking for group. And is anybody doing any gribbles, you can ask. Because gribbles are great experience, especially at that level. They're a set of 3 heroic adventures you can do on the gribbles. And if there's somebody higher level, say a 110 doing it for level 80s or something, or maybe a 105 for level 75, if they push, they can get all 3 of those missions done in 30 minutes, and you can have your lesson burning and double your experience. At, I believe it's 95, you can start doing Broken Mirror heroic adventures. Okay, now when we get to 75 and you're doing your gribbles, you're going to be earning Marks of Valor. And that's going to start you on your first purchased set of full gear that's pretty decent. The latent gear that you can buy from the group merchants. And then in Broken Mirror, you can get more gear that will last you up to around 105. I give you some various zones to check out and level at. I could be more specific. When you hit level 95, you might want to start doing your progression whenever you have a chance. That's, each zone has mercenary quests. You can get those. They start in the House of Thule, but the ones that really matter the most are Call of the Forsaken on. And if you finish the progression, each of those have cool little clicky items or bags or illusions with stat bonuses that you can get, or horse, mounts. And so there it is. This is kind of my general thought on where you're going to be going as you level up. You said, the quest lines or achievements with clicker rewards or something that you must have and where to go for them. Okay, this list for the most part is focused on items that will be of use your entire career, or at least through 115. Which is why I don't have the Epic 1.0 listed for the Shaman. It is very useful at level 60. It's cool to have, but mine is bagged and I have not used it in years. On the other hand, your Epic 2.0, you can't call yourself a shaman if you don't have your 2.0. Raid guilds won't take you if you don't have your 2.0, generally. And if you, as I said, there's a lot of ways to play EverQuest, including, focusing on the lower levels, focusing on, trade skills, focusing on questing, focusing on AAs, but also, do you want to be in a casual guild, or do you have certain times when you're on that fit with a raid guild? For example, I raid Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, and I raid generally, some 4 till 8. It's less than that. It might be 4:30 to 7:30, 5 to 8, but I usually get on early. And that means I tell my wife, I either buy dinner for her, or, I just say, hey, I'm not going to be sitting up with you eating dinner and watching TV on those nights. But then I focus on her the rest of the week, and it generally works out. Okay, but back to the quest lines and achievement. These are all, things you can Google to find out what they are. There's an extruded black pearl. There's another black pearl. The extruded black pearl is going to be your number one, like, charm og, or perhaps primary og. Um, the blood metal inlaid knowledge totem gives you an illusion click, but it also gives you stats, and you're going to have to level up a shroud, knowledge shroud, up to level 5, and so there's a quest line you can do for that. You kind of research that. There's a lot of DA clicks you can get, diplomatic papers, and a lot of anniversary missions are worth doing. Whenever the anniversaries come out, put aside whatever you're doing, focus on anniversary missions, get those done. The Drunkard Stein is a port to POK, so you can, it gives you another, instead of gating to the lobby, you can port to POK, but it's also a very fast port. So you can click it, like say in combat, it's going bad. Everybody says, okay, let's Stein out. And you can just click that Stein and get out. The Emperor Ganak familiar has some really nice stats. And it's a tremendous amount of work to get in Ring of Scale, but it's worth getting. Nope, I skipped. Of course, epics, Horn of Unity. Okay, Jan's Veil is from the Burning Lands. It's an illusion, but it has some great stats, including a dodge bonus. So that will, when you have Jan's Veil, you could stop using your Stone of Judgment that you got in the Plane of War. Stone of Judgment gets you a 10% dodge bonus, and it fits into a Type 3 Og. But once you have the Jan's Veil, they don't stack, so the Stone of Judgment can go into your bank. Cobalt Skull Charm, obviously that's not going to last forever, but it's the one reason to do maybe the Glooming Deep missions. The Manisi Branch is a heal, click heal, and it can be a bigger heal for a shaman. Or you can get the Apothic Dragon Spine Hammer, which is a quest in Temple of Vishan. These two don't stack, so if you have the Dragon Spine Hammer, you don't need the Manisi Branch anymore. Let's see. There's Circle of Power 4. There's a number of items that have it. The Rage of Rolfin is one I mentioned. That drops as a rare drop in the Plane of War, and so it's worth, if you spend any time there, if you get that. There's other ways to get it. There's also raid ways to get it. You don't need the Ring of the Ancients because that's, you already have Shrink. The Staff of Burden Right is class defining. If you want to get that, that's going to take you a tremendous amount of work, but it allows you to do battle resing. The Vermilion Sky Ring is another Plane of Sky quest that will allow you to feign death instantly. It comes with 2 charges, and you can have on your person like a battery that will recharge it again, so you can have 4 feigned deaths before you have to go back to the Plane of Sky and get the battery and recharge your ring. You can only have 1 battery at a time because it's lore. So these are some things to kind of Google and think about long term. Most of them are going to be when you're higher level. Then let's see, there is Curse of Blood is a progression line that you may want to do at some point. I've never done it. Again, I don't know lore stuff anymore. Essence of the Dragon isn't as critical as it used to be. It lets you fight certain mobs. It gives you protection for 2 Empire of Kunark and Ring of Scale. The level 2 would be something you can get through raiding. I have not done that on this character. At 115, you don't need Essence of the Dragon anymore. But you need to do all of the quest lines in the progression anyways, so there you are. Let's see, what else do they have here? Okay, the Heroes Barracks I have not done, but Heroes Fortitude, Heroes Resolution, Heroes Vitality, those are tied in with doing various progressions, starting with Call of the Forsaken. I've done most of them. I still need to do 1 achievement in one of the trials in the Burning Lands, and I just need to get a group to do that, but I haven't finished it yet. But so each of these gives you some additional attack and different, the different benefits. And And as I said, EverQuest is a game of inches that eventually make a mile. So these are very small benefits, each one individually, but eventually it makes your tune just that much better. I talked about journeyman speed, 6 of 6. These you get through doing all exploration. Power of the Dark Rain is progression stuff that you'll want to look into and do. Get familiar with your veteran benefits like staunch recovery, because a lot of people just don't use them that often, and it's kind of nice. I mean, I use staunch recovery about once a week, however often it pops. And on a raid, you'll be, if you say get rezzed and you need to have full mana, boom, staunch recovery. Throne of Heroes, no, Trials of Matamuran, those 6 of 6. If you do heroic, you're going to have that anyways. Otherwise, you can do those. You do definitely 100% want to do those. And that's here. Let's see. Okay, in terms of gear, more things. These are things you're going to be doing. It's starting around 110. In the Burning Lands, in the mission Fight Fire, it drops various gear that isn't particularly impressive. A ring, gloves, boots, and some shoulders. But if you do certain tasks like all the exploration or all the hunter or all the collections or all the challenge achievements, then you can level these up and they become better than raid gear. So I have not done the shoulders yet because I have not finished all my scavenger stuff. I have them in the bag. I have leveled them to the point where once I do the scavenger stuff, we can start leveling them. So I've just got the boots, and the hands are done, and I'm working on the ring right now. Up here is the Earring of Rallis Zek. It's a trade skill, kind of based long quest line, and I'm working on that. So that's something you definitely want to do if you want to, as I said, you may have finished your A, you may finish your experience. There's so many different things you can do in EverQuest, and you're not going to do it all at once. So you just, every time you log on, think to yourself, what can I do? Is there one thing I can fill, one little hole in my character's experience that I can do? And you keep progressing on that. And then, as I said, for me, okay, obviously I would like to do House of Thule, Veil of Alaris, Reign of Fear, all of their mercenary and partisan lines and all their achievements. But where you want to focus on initially, I did, is starting at Call of the Forsaken. The nice thing about these is, if say you're 115 and you're filling in the back, they become increasingly easy to do. At this point, I think I can also one group, if I get in a group, we can start doing some of the Call of the Forsaken raids just for fun. I've pretty much finished all of these on my Shaman and my Shadow Knight and some of my other tunes. I need to go back and fill in some other stuff. And let's see. Okay, so this is what you need to do. And then I opened the tab, and this is just, there's things you can fill in. There's raid stuff. If you're not raiding on the particular tune, you won't get that. That's fine. And okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is trade skills. You're going to need to do at least some trade skills if you want to continue to advance your character. Skills 1 to 25 you can buy. When you level, you get a certain number of points you could spend with your guild master. So you get up to 25, then you're going to need to level your skills to 50 so you can get the apprentice test for trophies. So I would suggest go to the Abysmal Sea and get the God trade skill. There's some quests you can do. You get freebies, and those are valuable in two ways. One, they'll get your skill to around 35. And two, generally those freebies, like how to use certain items from the God, have high trivials, and they'll help you get your trade skills up. And then you want to get your trade skill to 50, go get your trophy, and then advance your trade skills. Obviously, as alchemy, if you're a shaman, get a 300 alchemy. it's worth doing, and it's just, you're a shaman, so have a 300 alchemy. You're going to want to get 300 jewelry too, because you're going to need the earring of Ralzek, and you're going to need to get at least a certain level of things like pottery and baking and smithing. So trade skills can be started at a low level. And there's just, when you look at all of these things you have to do, you can do them in between looking for a group. Always be looking for a group. Get into a guild, whether a casual guild or a raid guild. It's not a lifetime commitment. If that doesn't work out, you can move to a different guild. It'll make it easier to get groups. And that's everything that I have to say in part 1 of this kind of sort of guide. Talk to you guys later.